The use of herbs and plants as medicine, popularly known as Agbo, is a tradition that has always been a part of the Nigerian people. Hello and welcome to Showcase. I am Nafisa Abdul Al. On today's episode, we are going to be delving deeper into the origin of these herbs, how they are being made, consumed, and most importantly, the entrepreneurial aspect of it.
This is Akpoka and Ayoka. We use in treating breakage on the head. We call it Oka in Yoruba. These are the roots we use to treat the breakage on the head.
Okay, and this one?
The
two of them
is Akpoka and Ayoka.
This is the home of a traditional medicine practitioner who specializes in herbs, popularly known as Agbo. She is going to be taking us deeper into the origin of these herbs, how they are being made and consumed. Alhaji Atawa Abdurrafiu is a traditional medicine practitioner who specializes in making traditional medicines, or Agbo, as they are popularly called in Yoruba language. She says healing the sick through traditional medicines is a talent that has always been in her family and is now her source of livelihood.
My name is Alhaji Atawa Kalitu Akindele, popularly known as Moboluwaduro Abatrado Medical Home. I sell Agbo herbs for both long and short-term infections in male and female, rashes on children, blocked fallopian tube, arthritis, typhoid, malaria, diabetes, name it. Agbo cures different types of diseases. This business I'm into is an inheritance work. I inherited this from my late grandmother. After my inheritance, I have those that I want to teach. I want to support people that taught me the work again. I stayed them for about 3 years before I'm able to graduate. I have my certificates. I have my everything. I have my license as well. I have my registered with CAC and I'm registered under SMEDAM. They do come to us as an first aid something. When we treated them, by special grace of God, some get healed. Those that didn't get healed, I always tell them to go to the hospital and run tests. When you undergo tests, show me your results so that I can know what to give you. I ask them, have you gotten BP before? Have you diabetes? Have you hepatitis A and B? Some of them did not know. I have to refer them back to the hospital to go and run a test. After I finish running the test, let them bring back the result back to me so that I can know where to start from. The dosage we give them must not be more than a shot. A shot, for example, now, that for the infection something. I have last cup, one shot in the morning, one shot at night. It must not be twice a day. That of malaria is 3 times a day. Malaria typhoid must not take more than at least a half glass cup in the morning, afternoon, and night, and it must be taken warm, not cold. I don't say anything alcohol. I'm not into such. I'm not into anything like alcohol. Everything you see in my shop is either roots and boiled or the one I cook. I soak it for you. That of the boiled one is very different from the hot one. Those taking the hot are just taken for the refreshment. The one you boiled or the one you soak is more effective with water than being with hot, the soak with hot. Those taken with hot drinks are just taken for refreshments. Cancer of the breast, to be specific, if it is noticed earlier stage, we call something ewi onion. mixed with black soap. We wash the affected areas. We mix with cream as well, and we give drinkable ones to be applied on the affected area twice daily. We have herbs called Corona. Corona is just, we call it Luku in Yoruba. It's just like malaria. There are some herbs and roots that you mix. Take hot in the morning, warm in the night, a special grace of God, it will be over. If you see me in the hospital or my kids in the hospital, except something that has to do with surgery or something that passes my knowledge. The hospital drugs, 90% of it are made up from the roots and herbs. So I'm sure we can work hand in hand to be able to make everything come together. I belong to the Yoruba Herbal Trado-Medical Association. We are registered with the CAC. We are recognized. I've never been to the state before, but I'm very sure, I'm proud to tell you that my herbs have been going there. I went to interview American Embassy twice. I was denied for visa. I didn't be able to go there, maybe it's more than this. I have not been there before, but my products have been there. Some from people from outside. Even though some, I did not even know some. They just got in my contacts, they call me, we talk to them, and I treated them as well. The one I was mixing and the cream is for rashes. We call it Ela, no, or anything on the skin. It's made of the roots and the herbs. We give herbs for bathing, you boil it for bathing. If you are bathing, you drink from the liquid something you boil. We give soap and cream as well to apply on the affected areas. In the next 2-3 weeks, the storm will be over. We need the government to help us, to come to our aid. We are trying our best, but we need the government to help us, at least to fund us. Let them be aware, let them know we are available. We can do our best as well. Maybe the call for interview or the call for conference meeting with the traditional have something. When we come together, we explain our view. We are just begging the government to come to our aid. If you come, that is why I said earlier on, go for a test. If it's something I can do, I take care of it. If it's not something I can do, I advise you, go to the hospital. I don't do tests, I don't do surgery, but I try my best. No, nothing alcohol, I'm not part of it.
You're still watching Showcase. Let's take a short break and we'll be right back.
Get latest updates on current topical issues and breaking news by downloading the Trust TV mobile app on your Android devices. Go online, click Google Play Store, search Trust TV, install the app, and get doses of unfiltered information on happenings all over the world in your pocket. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back to the program. So we spoke to some Nigerians on their thoughts about the consumption of traditional medicine, and here's what they had to say.
Actually, people have different ways of understanding from different perspectives. people literally believe that English medicine is ideal. Why? Because that is what people recommended, or maybe let me say federal government recommended. But in a nutshell, we're not saying that. From the onset, our origination is from the herbal medicine, if we are meant to look at it in total. Regardless of maybe English medicine is an upgraded standard of drugs that we use today. There is modern drugs that we use, but the herbal medicine is something that you can do away with. Why? Because if you look at our ancient parents, they don't know anything like English medicine. From the onset, they started with herbal medicine, and today I'm telling you the facts. What herbal medicine is doing in my life per se, let me use myself as number one point of instance. Like seriously, I will tell you the truth, English medicine cannot do that for me.
Well, it depends on what you are treating. Like if you are treating some kind of diseases, you will need pharmaceutical drugs. Then there are some other diseases that you need the natural herbs. Like if you are, maybe they want to carry out a surgery on you. Maybe after the surgery, it is those pharmaceutical drugs that they might recommend. You have to take them too. But if there are other ailments that does not need surgery, I believe natural herbs can do the job very well. The two of them can coexist, and even the government too knows it. That is why from the Federal Ministry of Health, they have a particular department that have been approved that could take care of this natural herbs. So the two of them can coexist very well.
My grandfather, in actual fact, my grandfather stayed 135 years before he died. So we are family of roots. So those days, if to say I be man or I know that time, I forgo far because he carry us go inside bush, go gather leaves, we come boil am, come they give am people. Honestly, warm, we know they get sick, all this sickness or whatever. I prefer root. I keep on telling people, let us go back to our natural something. Though these tablets, you know they work. Oh, I don't know other people, but for me and people who I know.
And I have this general belief that herbal medicine doesn't work. The patient takes it and go and die. But I discovered that people that travel to China, all these importers, when you go to China today and you enter any factory in China, they will give you a local herb. But people started now, but I give kudos to the Yorubas. They call it agbo, but it works. I discovered that there is this wrong notion about what we have in this country. We've not been able to harness the potentials. The Bible said herbs are for healing. God gave all those things so that man on earth will not have any complaint. Because of our ignorance, in most places, we begin to throw those things away and we'll die. And the Bible said, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
We're sitting on a multi-billion-dollar gold mine here in Nigeria when we talk about herbal medicines.
In an interview with the Director General CEO of the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Research and Development, Dr. Obi Adigwe, spoke extensively on the merits and demerits associated with the consumption of herbal medicines.
It's a multi-billion-dollar gold mine which has been underappreciated as well as underdeveloped. It's something that a lot of research and development stakeholders from the Western world have, in the past decades, realized the importance of. Come to Africa, because we have quite a wide variety of plants. There are thousands of plants in Nigeria that have the potential for ethnopharmaceutical and ethnomedicinal activity. And they've identified some of these plants, characterized them, and taking them away. If you pick 10 medicines that are being used across the world, about 4 or 5 of them have their origins from herbal medicines or phytomedicines. So what they've also cleverly done is that after characterizing them, they get the analogs, the synthetic analogs, so that they don't have to keep coming back to Africa to harvest and process. So it is those synthetic analogs that they now manipulate, right? Produce medicines and then send back to us in Africa. And it's very sad that we who are the originators, who are meant to be the custodians, who our forefathers and our ancestors have been using these particular plants for thousands, or I should say hundreds of years, still don't realize the value and have not put the relevant amount of emphasis and prioritization to enable Nigeria and the rest of Africa harness this potential. The evidence, and it's not just in Nigeria, the evidence across Africa is that somewhere between 70 and 80% of Africans resort to herbal medicines as their first point of contact in the healthcare sector. So it is there with us. Do you understand? Whether we like it or not, whether it is good or bad, it is there. It is something that has been handed down from generation to generation. And before many people in rural areas present to a hospital with an indication of a disease, likelihood 3 out of 4 times they've already tried to resort to a herbal medicine practitioner. So the correct question is, as healthcare stakeholders, how should we be harnessing this particular phenomenon that already exists? And the answer is that we should be putting in resources to mainstream herbal medicine or phytomedicinal use and access. So the agbo that people access, is it NAFDAC registered? If it is not NAFDAC registered, how do we put in steps to ensure that the agbo is NAFDAC registered? The agbo, is it standardized? Do we know the quality? Do we know the dosage? If it is not, how do we put in the steps to ensure that when someone wakes up in the morning and he wants to take an agbo for diabetes, for instance, he knows that it is 2 shots. That is what is required of him. What is the quality of agbo? The agbo that is produced in Lagos, is it of the same quality as the one that is produced in Katsina? These are processes that need to be put in place. The people who produce the agbo, where do they get their plants from? How do they harvest those plants? How do they process the plants? How do they get the knowledge that they inherited from their fathers documented so that it can be reviewed by their peers and presented in a format that the acceptance will now be more widespread? So that if you go to a hospital, right, based on the research that has been undertaken on that agbo, right, based on the evidence, both preclinical and clinical trials that has emerged from, interrogating that agbo, based on the fact that that agbo has NAFDAC registration, a doctor will have the confidence to also recommend that you take this agbo if you cannot take something like chloroquine. And NIPRID, there is no agency in the whole of Africa that has the experience we have in this area. So there is a product which used to be an agbo, right, which NIPRID passed through all these processes that I have listed, right? And today, this product, which used to be an agbo, is administered to people with sickle cell anemia because it has undergone preclinical tests, it has undergone phase 1 and phase 2 clinical trials. It is NAFDAC registered. We know the plants, we know the quality of plants, we monitor the harvesting, we monitor the processing, we monitor the capsulation. All these things are done in a NAFDAC certified establishment. It is packaged in a format where it can be used anywhere. In fact, we have evidence that people in over 40 countries across the world use this particular product. Just last week, I got a call from somebody saying that her colleague in the UK who has used this product before now wants it sent to them in the UK. That is what we've done with this product, okay? But NIPRID is not there to do this process for the thousands of agbo that exist. What NIPRID is here to do is to develop the model and then share the model across all the stakeholders so that instead of only NIPRID doing this, there will be thousands of us doing it. And before you know it, within 5 years to 10 years, this will be taking care of 10 to 20% of our GDP. As a thoroughbred healthcare professional, I would never advocate for someone to depend on a sector which is not regulated compared to a sector which has adequate regulation, okay? However, what I can do is to tell you that we recognize the importance of phytomedicines, and we recognize the importance of the stakeholders in the phytomedicinal value chain. And based on that recognition, we have now started to take steps to ensure that the criticisms that people make about those practitioners in the phytomedicinal value chain are addressed. So recently, and I'll give you a number of examples, recently our administration has now gotten approval for the constitution of a traditional medicines regulatory body. Okay, that is the first step towards bringing those practitioners to the mainstream. Because currently, based on the scenario you set out, if you buy the agbo and there are issues, how do you track the person who sold the agbo to you? Do you understand? If there have been untoward processes in how he administered the agbo to you, how will you regulate him? How will you punish him? What are the punitive measures? That did not exist. But with this intervention that our administration brought to bear, once that regulatory body is put in place, those practitioners have to be registered, right? Those practitioners will need to know what the guidelines are for practices in their sector. And they will now know what the benefits as well as the punishments are for either adhering to the guidelines or contravening those processes. So that is the first step. So as a policymaker, I also believe in carrot and stick. So it could be argued that the scenario I have set out for you is the stick. What is the carrot? The carrot is to also engage with the practitioner so that you teach them that there is a better way to do what they're currently doing. And I can tell you categorically that in the 2 to 3 years that I have been appointed Director General, I have prioritized the training of phytomedicinal practitioners as one of the key objectives that I will achieve within my first tenure in office. My advice to stakeholders is that more people need to believe in the potential of the phytomedicinal sector. When I say that we are sitting on a multi-billion-dollar gold mine, I'm not just talking of government. I've told you about entrepreneurs who invested in teas, right? Nigeria is one of the biggest exporter of hibiscus, that's Zobo, right? And we export it raw, so you just harvest the flowers and export it. When that Zobo is packaged in a tea format and put in a very elegant package, the value of that thing that has been harvested is quadrupled. So the wealth and well-being is for everybody. So my advice to stakeholders is that more people should believe in the potential of phytomedicines, and as a consequence of their belief, they should begin to partake in the entire value chain, whether as producers or marketers or people who would sponsor research and development. And my advice to the consumers is the same advice I would give if I was going to talk about orthodox medicines. For every product that you go to a supermarket or to a pharmacy to buy, your first question should be, is it made in Nigeria? If they have 10 products and one is made in Nigeria, patronize the one that is made in Nigeria. The chances are that product that is made in Nigeria is of higher quality than the ones that are not made in Nigeria. And if you patronize it, you're also building an entire sector which yourself, your family, your colleagues, and your compatriots will benefit from.
For some traditional medicine practitioners and consumers, traditional medicine, or agbo as they are popularly called, still remain a trusted and preferable alternative. However, this does not eradicate the importance and usefulness of modern medicine in the world today. And that wraps it up for our episode today. We hope you found it interesting and inspiring. We'll be back next week with another mind-blowing package. I'm Nafisa Abdul Al. Thanks for watching.